Three, two, one.
Hi everyone, this is Leah Mattinson from Master Your Life on UK Health Radio. Welcome to our show, the show of insight, intelligence, and inspiration, where we ask you each week to consider who is it you are right now and what is it you would most love to create in your life. This week I'm joined by my guest, Michael Plante. How are you doing today, Michael?
Hi, Leah. I am awesome. So thank you for having me on your show again.
Well, thank you for agreeing to be on the show because as with many people and many businesses right now, we're doing a lot of accommodating and changing plans because of the good old coronavirus. So if you like you, we're all, like people are home officing, home commuting, taking care of kids, living in isolation, and those are just the realities that we're dealing with. So I appreciate you being here and looking forward to this conversation because today we're going to talk about something so important in terms of people managing their lives, because there's so much going on right now in the world that is affecting people at a very personal level that you do need real skills. So as the podcast goes on, we're going to be giving you some real skills today to help you to master your life in all areas.
That's right. There's a lot of change happening very, very quickly at this particular time. And this is something that we've never ever seen before in our generation. And so kind of a whole bunch of new things that we're dealing with all at once.
It's a whole new world. It's a new
It's a whole world.
That's right. Thanks, Ariel, for that. I just got to prop myself up a little higher here. So for those of you who don't know, we have a YouTube show as well. So if you'd like to catch us on YouTube, we'll give out those social media connections just a little bit later in the show. But for right now, I want to talk about the reality, I guess, of what's going on and what it might be causing for people in terms of their physical well-being. We often talk on this show about your financial well-being, your relationships, and there's no doubt that there's people are noticing enormous change and shifts in the way they're living their day-to-day lives. So some examples of that are people are home from work full-time. People have been laid off from their jobs, so they're at home, sometimes only with the spouse, but sometimes now with an entire, bevy of kids at home too, because schools are closed. So people who were working full-time have now turned into full-time parents, and that's not as easy as many people thought it was going to be. Yeah, a whole new set of skills.
A whole new set of skills. Yeah, whole new getting to know these people that you were in the past living with, but really only spending a few hours a day with. And yeah, some of that time has been like tripled.
Yes, and in quarantine. It's like, so it's not like you can hear, I went out yesterday, and we live in Canada. I went out yesterday and they've actually closed off the playgrounds because this virus can live on metal for, I don't know how many hours it is, but, and I'm not going to pretend to know all the stats or the data, so we're not going to dive deep into that. But what I do know is when I looked out the window and saw that this, like the crime scene tape around the playground, I was like, my heart just went, what? And I felt so sad about that. I've got grandchildren that I absolutely adore. I love playing with them. We love playing in the playground. Many families are deeply affected by this just one simple thing that we've had change. And there's been many changes over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And for some people, it's been several months now. But here in Canada, this really has been the big buckle down has happened in the last 2 weeks. And so we're having a whole new appreciation for what's coming, what other people have been living with in the world, and for hopefully what we're going to avoid by helping each other to make good decisions. But in the meanwhile, here's this park and it's closed, which is just not in my lifetime do I ever remember anything like that.
Yeah, right. And it's kind of, now it's very brought to you the forefront of your attention because it's right there in your face.
Yeah, right there in your face. I remember one time visiting with somebody about a problem they were having in their life, and that their husband wouldn't pay any attention to this problem. And the problem was that the van wasn't working. And no matter how much the wife said, the van isn't working, the van isn't working, the husband just was completely oblivious to it until one day he took the whole family out in the van and he was driving the van. And then because he hadn't been in the van when it had been having all these problems, but the thing overheated and they didn't have AMA or, whatever to get the thing towed and fixed. So there he was sitting in this van with the problem. And all of us, then it got fixed. Because it became his problem. So I think one of the things that's been struck me over this last couple of weeks is we've been quarantined, as we've been home, as we haven't been able to, socialize the way that we normally do, is that we're in the van. We're in the van now. So we're not escaping the reality that is. And you gave a good example. We were chatting pre-show about this, about in the world when you were watching several years ago when there was a tsunami, and what were people doing then?
Oh yeah, I was on the news there years ago. The tsunami was coming, and we were hearing these reports on the news, but they were showing some footage of people who were still out enjoying the beach. And the waves were coming in, and at first it was just up to the little kids' feet, and they were having this fun old time running backwards to get away from this wave. And then the next wave came in. It came in all of a sudden right up to their waists, and now their eyes were wide. It was like, oh, something is really happening. And then moments later, 5 or 6 waves later, not only was it up to their waist on the beach, it was entirely covered the beach. Those people were in a panic and running for their lives, and the water was coming right into the hotel, right into the hotel lobby. And so it was, in a matter of minutes, brought all the way home.
Right on.
Not just an out there problem anymore.
You're in the van, people. You're in the van. Might have been a little bit, but part of it, that's a coping mechanism for sure, that most people are having to find some humor in the moment. But so as I had mentioned before, 2 weeks ago, we were starting our lockdown, our self-quarantine. So when this show goes to air, we will have been just at 2 weeks, 2 full weeks. But 3 weeks prior was my birthday week. So we were out having a good time, socializing, spending time with family, and friends, and out at the local restaurants, and just doing our normal networking, even networking meetings, very normal, even though we were going to the networking meetings and I was at a service club meeting just the week prior, and we were all instead of, at that meeting was the first time that we didn't shake hands. It was like you just did a little elbow pump, little hit on the elbow, and that was to say hi, and then the serious discussions about what was going on and how people were going to handle it. But that was Friday, and the following 3 days later, everything was shut down. Schools got shut down, recreation facilities all got shut down, many of the big stores got shut down. People got sent home from work almost immediately on that Monday, a lot of people. So it's just been this really fast change that people have either dovetailed really nicely with, or if you don't actually have stress management skills, or you don't have change management skills, and those two things are different things. But if you don't have them, or you don't have both of them, it can be a really not fun time. It can be a not fun time.
Yeah, and it's our human nature, I think, to get bogged down and into the quagmire of the speculation and the what ifs, and that can bring on a lot of stress and anxiety for a lot of people. And there really is some talent and some knowledge to learn how to deal with that, and it's really not commonplace for us to know it.
Yeah, there is really skills, tools, knowledge, discipline, wisdom.
That's great.
Yeah, there's a whole process to really learning and embodying stress management skills under all conditions. But most people, you're right, Michael, are not prepared at all, because we're really, this generation has not been up against much. I mean, people have had, and I say this generation on our show, I think that our listener audience really is from the age of, demographically, we have listeners as young as 18 and as old as 80. Male and female equally split. So interesting mix. So when I say this generation, what I mean in the last 100 years, people haven't had to deal with a pandemic. So really people don't have that skill set of just kind of getting it, because you haven't been in that particular van, you haven't been in. So you really don't, you can kind of guess and try to figure out, you can even try to play ball, but a lot of people are very, we're wired to be autonomous, right? So we like to be independent and doing things on our own. We don't necessarily believe everything we hear because there's so much baloney, phony baloney, you know, so people like to try to remain as calm and on the beach for as long as possible. And then when the when someone hits the fan and we go, okie dokie, now maybe I better sit up and pay attention. But it's because we've really become numbed out to our actual natural ability to sound the alarm and pay attention to it. You know, so our body might be sounding the alarm, but we're so used to it all the time, dumping cortisol and adrenaline in our body from the time we wake up in the morning until the time we go to bed at night. By choice, we do this, people, that we really have burnt out our hearing ability for our natural fight, flight, freeze. And we don't actually operate using that system when we need to in order to preserve ourselves and our bank accounts and our relationships. So let's just talk a little bit more about the physiology of the fight or flight. Let's talk about like the hormonal, what dumps as hormones. You're familiar with this for many reasons, Michael.
A little bit, yes. And yeah, and I think as a society, well, as a people to start with, we are born with this fight, flight, or freeze. And the adrenaline rush is meant for a specific purpose. And then as a society, we've desensitized ourselves through various ways with, you know, as starting with kids as video games and things like that, and all that violence and noise and just busyness to keep our brains entertained, that we've really desensitized our natural inner wisdom and inner voice that was at one time really born into us to, you know, save us from the saber-toothed tigers and the woolly mammoths of the world, that we just don't even hear it anymore.
And it's handy to have when you're out of traffic. It's handy to have when when a vehicle is bearing down on you.
That's right. There is instances in our current lives where this could be really save our lives, and we don't use it anymore. We don't use it the way it was intended. We kind of try and we enjoy that adrenaline dump too much, the adrenaline high. We purposely look for it. We go to the gym, like you say, like we've had discussions before. You go to the gym and you work out and push yourself till you get that adrenaline high, that adrenaline kick. And, you know, we do that in other ways in our lives. And it's really, it's a nice little high for the moment, but it's always followed by a crash. And it does nothing for our stress levels. Doesn't fix anything. Just a little, yeah, just a little.
More insidious things are your alarm clock. Your alarm clock, your dinger on your microwave oven, when your washer and dryer go buzz, buzz, like these things that are insidious. You don't even realize how many times a day you're triggered to go into that bing, 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 fight, flight mode. And so it's not just the thrill seeking, although that stacks on, definitely regular stuff, but it's from the moment we wake up almost until the moment we go to sleep for the majority of the population. And 70%, why this is important, is people go, I can think my way out of the stress. It's okay. We're not thinking our way out of the stress. 90% of illness, the root cause is stress. 90%.
Yeah, that's right. And when we're so much in that fight or flight, we're turning off our immune systems and our body's ability to heal itself. Mm-hmm. And so we're living that way in a mode where we're not helping ourselves recover at all. And so I'm sure that you can speak to that a little bit more than I can, Leah.
Yeah, well, yes, and we can get into some of the actual how you heal yourself as we go on during this podcast. But what I want to encourage people to do right now is to get a pen and paper out so that you're ready to actually take some Coles notes for yourself, because we're going to give you a tool today to help you to get out of that stress and anxiety, at least for the moment. I'm going to go back to my example of looking out the window and going, oh my God, the playground is closed, and feeling grief and sadness, because I think where people get confused really is they think they have dealt with an emotion by pushing it down and then laughing stuff off. I just laugh it off. No, you don't laugh it off because you're sick. So your laughing isn't working. Your joking around isn't working. You're hanging out at the bar and drinking, until you can't, blind, drinking yourself blind, or whatever it is that we use for these coping mechanisms isn't working. And we can tell this statistically by the number of people that are requiring medication to deal with things like anxiety, depression, overweight, type 2 diabetes, and the list goes on and on. But right now, the really critical problem that we have, or opportunity, depending on how you see it, is that we've got this trifecta of stressors that is economic stress, health stress, like we don't actually know what's happening tomorrow, we don't know, and we're under attack by something that we can't really do anything about. So we've got this financial stuff that's going on worldwide. Markets have gone for a dip. People don't know if they're going to be able to retire. They don't know if they're going to go to work tomorrow. They don't know if they actually have enough money to pay their rent or food in their cupboards. And because most people in most developed countries are living paycheck to paycheck, this is a very real thing. So that stress, along with all of these new relationship stressors, even if you love your kids, even if you love your spouse, if you're seeing them all the time now and you actually don't know how to deal with them, people have a tendency to need a little bit of time to figure out how to get along with each other and to cohabitate again. So that's a stressor. And then the added bonus of this thing that's potentially could have drastic effect on your health. And I don't just mean your health. If you're middle-aged, young, vibrant, and you're not worrying about it, whatever, but you can affect older people, and you can definitely affect younger people. And because everybody's out of work, it's affecting your livelihood. So your prosperity and your abundance are being barraged, battered. That's what causes the trifecta of then chronic stress symptoms. So then you start to see people with that were kind of on the tipping point of, I'm all right, I'm doing okay, actually can't sustain the I'm okay any longer. And then it turns into an actual chronic problem.
Right. Yeah. And there is a difference between, saying I'm okay and knowing it in the core of your being. And so you can't fool your inner wisdom. It's what you feel inside is where that confidence comes from, to be able to say, yeah, I'm okay. We're going to get through this and everything's going to be just fine. We'll figure it out. And there's definitely some tricks and tactics that you can help us out with there, because you've got a program, Health on Command, that's been doing this for years.
Yeah, so we should talk about Health on Command, and we should also talk about the other help that people can get by joining either Leah Mattinson Master Your Life or Leah Mattinson Health on Command on Facebook, or private messaging me. So my name, I know people go, the reason why I can't get a hold of you is your name is spelled weird and I've been spelling it wrong. So I'm just going to take a minute during this broadcast to actually spell it for you guys, because it is spelled funny. Thanks, Mom. Moms always get the credit for everything. So my name is spelled Leaha, like Leah Ha. She knew what she was doing. And Mattinson, Mattinson. And the reason why I want to spell it out for you today is because I want you to take an opportunity in a moment to write it down. We've got this really great time right now that we can use this time at home to change some things in our lives. So it doesn't actually have to be a time when we are suffering, feeling horrible, whining, complaining, which I hear, it's like my head wants to explode with the amount, my ears want to bleed with the amount of complaining that people are doing. This is the first time I remember, guys, I'm 53. This is the first time I recall being able to go home and be with your children and for it to be okay. It's just like, I woke up in the morning and went, 2 weeks ago on Monday, went, what? It's okay for women and men to be at home with their kids. This is the first time in history that I ever recall that. Nobody even needs to argue about it. Everyone is home. It's just the coolest thing, you know. So, but in the meanwhile, I hear in the background people going, oh, we're suffering. It's like, really the difference between, is this a problem or is it a really great opportunity?
Yeah, and we can definitely make it into an opportunity. I mean, we've got time on our hands now for self-improvement and to take some online courses or online learning or an online program such as yours, and, you know, come out at the end of this a better person than when we went in. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing at Health on Command or Master Your Life, or if you private message me, either myself or somebody on my staff will definitely respond to you, because we are connected with world leaders in bringing business online and in relationship help. So in all areas, we have world-class connections that can actually help you bring a business online or manage your relationship or get help with your kids, because this might be the golden opportunity to do that. Our specialty, we love to help people with health issues, and that includes change management and stress management. So they're really critical skills to have in order to feel great in your body and feel really, really well. And you might be going, well, why don't I just talk to my girlfriend? So here's a really amazing example. I have a very good friend who is an emergency room nurse and who's been a nurse for almost 30 years. And so they keep posting all this really important and dramatic stuff on Facebook about how hard they're all working and how horrible it is, and that they're all waiting for the tsunami of people to come rushing in who are going to be sick with this disease. And it's very amplified, and at least 5 posts a day from this very dear friend of mine. We've been lifelong friends, best friends. And so then I reached out to her and said, hey, do you want some stress management techniques? And her response was, I've got my speed dial list of friends who I will call. And I went, wow, that's interesting. Because the very people who need stress management the most are going to rely on a group of other people who are freaking out. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, I don't get that. It's like, if that ship is going down, are you going to just listen to the orchestra? Or are you going to get in a lightsaber and get the hell off the boat? Like, we don't need to, we put ourselves in all these weird positions. I don't know what we're thinking, like, because we're not thinking with our rational brain. We're thinking with that fear-induced frozen thinking. And so I want to tell you that there's way better strategies than hanging out and talking with people who are talking the same talk as you're talking.
Right.
Medical professionals are some of the most sick in the world. We've done episodes on this show for the past 3 years. And
That's
they
right.
self-confess to being really in bad shape. So I'm not singing that tune. I'm not joining that parade. We've got to do better. We've got to ask for people to want to do better for themselves. So this is your opportunity. Let's talk about the talk therapy thing, or the, going with friends a little more.
Well, yeah, I see this all the time, and I'm sure you do too, where people, yeah, do the talk therapy or the talk therapy with their friends, and really get caught in a cycle of reliving the not so great moments over and over and over again, and carry this on for hours and hours and days. And that was a moment in your life where maybe you should have thought of something other than reliving it again and again and again with a different friend and a different friend and a different, and even, going and talking for an hour with a professional and reliving it again. There are better strategies and techniques.
Yeah.
And
you've got to be open to them. And I'm going to give a personal example that recently happened, because I think it does speak to our inability to put on our curiosity cap and to become open-hearted and open-minded to somebody else's wisdom. So I have this dear friend who I have such high regard for. His name is Dr. Herwig Lang, and he is a German neuroscientist. He's been in the Huntington's disease family for almost 50 years. And I've interviewed him on the show here before too. He's a very big fan of lifestyle as medicine. He's a grandfather, and he is a smart cookie. So 3 weeks ago, when we were out celebrating my birthday and having some, just enjoying socializing with friends and that, he sent me a message and said, "Leah, the very best place for you to be is home." And I looked at that message, and I'm 53 years old. Who the hell are you? And I went, "Oh, hang on a minute. You're Herwig. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm going to listen to you." And we went and had a serious discussion in our family about how we're going to handle things, because we were not really taking it seriously. We really weren't putting ourselves in the white van. And he lives in Germany, so he's in a different part of the world, hanging out with different people. And he was just he had been seeing enough from his perspective to say, "Hey, your best place." And why would he tell me any other thing? He's
right.
got my best interest at heart, cares about me, cares about enough about me to be candid, and to be frank, and to be responsible. So I think this is a really interesting time also for us to go, what does it look like to be responsible? Versus like being sensible, having fun, being playful, being compassionate, all those things are important, but also so is being sensible. And that's a hard thing for a lot of us to do, is to take advice from somebody else for some reason. I don't know exactly what causes us to do that, but it doesn't serve us.
Right. Yeah. It's not an easy thing to be a leader, take a leadership role in your own life, and set a good example for other people. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like you said, 3 weeks ago, we were the self-isolation thing was a lot of talk. We hadn't really seen the reality of it hit us yet here in Canada, anyways. And now we have. 2 days ago now, I think it actually became an enforceable law for travelers returning to Canada now, that they to go directly from your point of entry to the country to 14 days quarantine. Do not pass go, do not collect $100, do not stop at the kennel and pick up the family pet, do not stop at the grocery store and pick up groceries, do not in any way have contact with anyone else. Directly from point of entry to your home and quarantined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Enforceable by law now. Mm-hmm. So that's where we've come in a very short 2 weeks.
Right, because in your family, You've got some teenage, young 20s. What happened? When were they starting to respond to things?
I'm not even sure if they are yet, to be honest with you. Well, I was, yeah, a week ago talking with my son, and was just then, schools were closed, and his soccer club, which was a huge deal in his life. The young man was a budding soccer star, at the soccer club 6 days a week, training, playing, and his part-time job coaching. So soccer was his life other than school. And so that stuff had just shut down for him all in one day, a little over a week ago. And then the last time I was talking to him here just a day or two ago, he was still going out with his friends to do a little bit of work on the ranch and hang out with his buddy. And so, you know, apparently we have our own versions of self-quarantine and self-isolation.
And your daughter's in university, right? So what's the implication been for her?
Well, her classes were shut down almost 2 weeks ago. The big universities were a little advanced or a little ahead of the curve on that kind of stuff, which is great. Her job, part-time job, was at an event center, and they shut down early as well. So she has been a bit more of the self-isolation for a couple of weeks now than certainly my son has, who is younger and a little more free, I guess, with his time.
Yeah, these are really important conversations that are happening in families all over the world right now about how do we behave, how do we act, how do we take care of each other, how do we respect each other, what's truth and not truth, what's amplified and not amplified. People are fighting about this, right? You know, so people who live under the same roof don't agree on many aspects of this. And again, we're not going to get into the weeds on it all, but we know how much. Just want to recognize how much life mastery you really do need in order to get through these kinds of times. I'm really fortunate to have been, you know, several years ago, over a decade ago now, well over a decade, to have been given a diagnosis for something that's incurable, terminal, chronic. And I was told by the doctor to please not come back until I had symptoms. And so that advantage of that really was that I was stuck basically in a room by myself with a whiteboard and a, you know, pen to figure out how I was going to be okay. Really, the world has this huge advantage right now where nobody is in this alone. This is going on for everybody. So we're connected, but we're also connected emotionally. So part of the reason why, when I say I went it alone, is there's great groups for Huntington's disease, just like there is for cancer and all this other stuff. But I went it alone because most of the people who are in the support groups really aren't very supportive. They're very much into the whole victim thing and continuing to be ill. So I stayed out of that as much as possible, with a lot of respect for the people who are working their best to be well, and with just compassion for everybody else. But I know that hanging out with people who are in the Titanic in their minds, that's not the place to be. You have got to get yourself on the highest tide that you can, with the highest boats, you know, that are floating, and stay with those boats, stay on that high tide as much as you can. So we're going to give you tools today to talk about that. And instead of talk therapy, what I want you to think about is this, and I want you to write this down. This is really important. Instead of talk therapy, just ask yourself how you feel. Just ask yourself how you feel. How do I feel, Leah? Well, physically, I feel like this. You know, scan yourself. How's my head? Is it clear? How's my heart? How's the rest of my physical body working? How's my digestion? How are my organs? How are my bones? How's my, like, these are questions we should be asking ourselves anyway. Like, how's your physiology? And then how is my mental health? So am I clear-minded? Is my executive functioning good? Am I feeling level-headed? Do I have good impulse control, problem solving and decision making skills? Like, am I thinking clearly? And then emotionally, do I feel stable? Do I feel sure-footed? And then, just do I feel open-hearted and compassionate about the things that are going on? Because here's an example: is I could have thought about me not responding to Dr. Lang's thing more quickly, like immediately, instead of 3 seconds later leaving the restaurant. It took me, I don't know, maybe an hour. But I don't beat myself up about the hour that I didn't leave earlier, so it's not staying stuck in something that you didn't do quick enough, but going with insight and wisdom, going, okay, I could have responded to that more quickly, and I want to be more level-headed and responsible about this the next time that this comes up. But right now, when you've got fear and that freeze, fight or flight response going on, you need real tools every day to keep you moving. And so when you ask yourself how you feel, then do something to transform any stagnant energy that you have. So if you have physical stagnation, move your body. Like, if things are sore, move your butt. Get up, move around. The second thing, if you have emotional stagnation, learn tools to be able to move that emotional stagnation. If you have mental stagnation, if you have sticky thinking, if you're thinking in roundy, loopy, swirly, negative thoughts, do something about it. Move that stuff. And if you don't know how to move it, we sure know how to help you to move it on Health on Command. So get connected with us at healthoncommand.com. When you get there, you will be on a landing page that will invite you to watch a presentation. You can fill out, you have to do this legally, guys. For us to be able to share email information with you, you have to be on an email list. There's so much fraud going on in the world today. It is in your best interest to be on a vetted list. That means somebody who's reputable, that you know that's been around for a while, that you know has your best interest at heart, that is not running some new schlippity schlop show, but that's that has been around and for a while. So do yourself the favor of going through the process of doing the double opt-in, because that's what's legal. And so that way, when we communicate with you, you know that you're on a list that is actually clear, and it's from us. The communication is from us. You don't have to watch the presentation, but you can watch the presentation. Completely up to you. But do yourself the favor and invite the people in your family also to get on that mailing list of ours, healthoncommand.com. We're not here to sell you anything. We are here to serve you to the truth of what's going on in your health and wellness. And if we can help you with something with your health, we are excited to do that. If we're able to help you to get connected with a joint venture opportunity that's going to help not only you, but other business builders, but affiliates, that people who you care about, to be world changers in the area of health and well-being, stress management, change management, health management, total health, then get on our mailing list, because that's what we will send you information about. And if you don't want to be on the mailing list, after you are on it, you can unsubscribe. It's so easy. People go, oh, it's so hard. It's not hard. It's easy. healthoncommand.com. Now, Michael, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but we're going to do an exercise. We're going to give you a tool. We're not going to do an exercise. We're going to give you a tool today, though, to help you to get your mind in order and to also start to activate some of those other areas that might be stuck. So instead of talk therapy, you're going to have a tool today.
That's right. So all those people that had their pen out a minute ago to take down Leah's name, get it out again.
Get it out again.
Yeah. We've got some 7 little tips here to help you out in your daily quarantine questions. So write this down. How about number 1? What am I appreciative of today?
Say it again.
Ask that. What am I appreciative of today? Got that down? I'll give you number 2. Who am I checking in with or connecting with today? So who am I checking in with or connecting with today? Give you a second for that. How about number 3? What expectations of normal am I letting go of today? So what expectations of normal am I letting go of today? Number 4, how am I getting outside today? And we're talking about, get outside, outdoors. Go and take in some fresh air and some sunshine. Your body likes it, likes it a lot.
Or in our case, snow.
Yeah, in our case, go see some snow.
Have a snowball fight. Stay out of the ER though. They don't want it.
But yeah, no, seriously, get outside at least once a day for a little bit. Number 5, how am I breathing and moving my body today? And speaking to that one, I think we have a little YouTube video just posted here the other day, yesterday, I believe. Great breathing exercise, and it's on YouTube, and you can look up Leah, Leaha Mattinson on YouTube, and it's right there. A great freebie for all of you out there. Okay, number 6. What beauty am I creating, cultivating, or initiating today? And our final, number 7, what am I doing at home that I love? Do something at home that you love. You're spending a bunch of time there right now today anyways, so take at some point in the day, do something that you love.
Exactly. And that can be from the moment that you wake up. You know, we've also done really recent YouTube videos, and lots of stuff's available on Facebook, really good content around why it's so important to want to be a leader in your life right now, and to be positive, to be a positive leader in your life right now. So you can lead yourself and be a curmudgeon about it, or you can lead yourself and be the bright ray of sunshine that you're actually intended to be. Having confidence that things are always working out for you. If you get on our Health on Command mailing list this week, upcoming, we definitely have more good stuff about how to be inspired. And this is the embodiment of this stuff, guys. So it's not just sort of the thinking about it, but actually how do you embody or change yourself from being in the state of being sad or in grief to instead being inspired and courageous, because it's going to take some courage. So that recent YouTube video that Michael mentioned is exactly that exercise to be able to move you from being fearful, or not fearful, sorry, fearful will be this upcoming week. So get on YouTube so that you can figure out the embodiment practice for that. But this past week, the one that we posted really was about moving out of grief and sadness and into inspiration and courage, which is what you need right now. And so they're practical things that you can do right now to change things on a dime. So if you want to be able to change yourself and have emotional mastery, we are giving this stuff away like candy. Because we want people to feel inspired. We want people to feel encouraged. We want people to feel really good when they wake up in the morning. And if you're going to be a leader in your own life, start thinking about how you want your morning to be. And think about that first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. How could you wake up in a state of happiness, joy, expectancy of good things, no matter what, because we're very conditional. It's like, if the conditions are just right, then maybe I'll be okay. But this is your really big opportunity to actually be so much more than you've ever been.
That's right. We've got some time now, so yeah, let's use it well. And there is some cliches out there, you know, that we can definitely change. So Wayne Dyer said, "When you believe it, you will see it." And that applies to a whole bunch of things, as well as the change in your life that you really should be taking right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then ask yourself also the question, why not change right now? Because that's what it's like. People are going, I've been for 3 years.
Why not?
And it's like, because we haven't been in the van, right? You haven't been in the van. So you're in the van now. So you've got a chance to either sit in the van and let the thing explode with you inside of it, or you can get out of the van and fix it. And everybody is capable of fixing, and not even fixing, because that sounds like blah, but get out of the old vehicle, leave it parked in that parking lot, and actually get into your new Ferrari or your Rolls Royce of a life that you could have if you just decided that you were going to take up the reins in your own life and master your own health and your own mindset and your own well-being. That's emotional, physical, mental, spiritual. That is what we do at Health on Command. That's what we invite you to do on Master Your Life every week. Because we know that people have been probably not invited very often to play big in their life. But here it is, guys. It's so exciting. It's a really exciting time. So if you want to be in a group of people that are fun and uplifting, but also responsible and teaching you how to do that in life and how to really grab the, the golden ring that is intended for you. This life is for you to have a fun, good time and feel good in your body and feel good in your energy, and to be positive about your family's life, your business, your economic future. And the best way to do that is to put yourself in the best physical, mental, and emotional state that you can. So thanks again, Michael, for being my guest this week. We're out of time.
Thank you, Leah, for having me. It's always great to have these conversations with you and to be able to share it with all the rest of the people.
Yeah,
wonderful.
It's awesome. Yes, thank you
very much.
So many thousands of listeners that we love you, appreciate that you spend your time with us each week. Please take a minute to take a step a little bit further in your life. Join us at Health on Command. Mind your mind this week. Love each other. Be compassionate with one another, but mostly be compassionate with yourself and take a step forward in your life. That's all for us. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me.